Hello and welcome to you all in this session. In this session, we will learn about behavior-driven development with the help of two very good iOS frameworks, that is Qwik and Nimble. Qwik framework basically provides you synthetical elements. With the help of that, you can write a structured unit test case in the BDD environment. While Nimble framework provides you the construct, with the help of that, you can perform expression matching and you can perform logical assertion in your unit test cases to check a particular functionality. To understand these two statements clearly, we have to understand the structure of a quick test case. So each quick test case have three sections basically. First is given, second is when, third is then. In the given section, we always used to mention the behavior that we want to test. And in the when section, we provide the context in which we want to test that behavior. And in the then section, that is the third one, we test the expected result. So this structure in which your quick test case is divided into three parts, this comes from the Qwik framework basically. And whatever logic, expression matching syntax that you need to test the functionality is going to be written with the help of Nimble framework. So in the screenshot, you can see a typical example of a BDD test case written by Qwik and Nimble framework. Right now, you don't need to pay attention on the logic of that particular test case, because the objective is to understand the all three sections that we can write with the help of different functions provided by the Qwik framework. So to write the given section of your BDD test case, you use the describe function from the Qwik framework, where you exactly define your behavior that you are testing in your test case. For the when section, you use the context function provided by the Qwik framework, in which you provide the condition under which you are testing your behavior. And with the help of its section, you define the then part of your BDD test case, in which you exactly test your expectation according to the user story acceptance criteria. One very good point of worth mentioning here is this structure of a BDD test case gives you a very formatted logging when you run your test cases in actual environment. So the strings written inside the describe, context and the it blocks, they get combined into a formatted logging, so that anyone can understand the status of your test case execution. So this part we will see in a practical example when we run our actual test cases into Xcode. Before jumping into the writing of actual test cases, there are some important points that we should consider. So later on we will describe these points in detail, but for now you can have a brief overview. So first point is, for now we are assuming that you have a complete understanding of the CocoaPod dependency management system, and to use Qwik and Nimble framework in our sample, we are using the same. The second point is, to name your test class, you should always combine with the two strings. First, that is the feature that you are currently testing, plus specs as a suffix string. You can see this as a practical example going forward, but for now consider it as a rule. In third point, you always need to inherit your test class with the Qwik spec class. Fourth point is, every test suite must have a method that is a spec. It works as a starting point for the test case and also the container of all the test cases in your test class. And whatever system you are testing in your test case, it must be named as SUT, that is system under test. And again, there should be three main section for every test case, that is describe, context and it, as we have already discussed earlier. So we will see all these points in action going forward when you write your actual test case in Xcode. So now you understand the basic structure of a unit test case written with the help of Qwik and Nimble framework. You also know the important points that are to be considered while writing the unit test cases. So we are giving here a very basic example for your understanding, so that you can learn how to write unit test case with the help of these two frameworks. We will also revise some of the important points that we have already discussed in the previous section of this particular tutorial. First step of writing unit test case is to import these two frameworks in your test file. So we are using here CocoaPod dependency management system to install these two frameworks, and that's why they are available automatically on the import statement. So at the line number 13 and 14, we have imported these two frameworks with the help of CocoaPods. And at the line number 16, we have given a add testable import statement that basically importing the complete app module to this particular test file. And the benefit of this particular attestable import statement is you need not to import the classes of your weather application for which you are writing the test case individually every time whenever you need it. The only single statement is responsible for importing all the class references that are used in this particular application. Now let's revise some general convention before writing the actual test case. So always name your test class on the basis of behavior that you are testing plus specs as the suffix string. Here we are testing the weather forecast, and that's why our class name becomes weather forecast specs. And every time writing a quick test case, you need to derive your test class with the help of quick spec class. This class basically provides you ability to override describe, context and the it block that you have already understood in the form of the different section of a quick and nimble test case. Going forward at the line number 32, you can see that every test suite has a main method that is known as spec, and inside this spec block you can put all of your test cases for that particular test class. We are testing here weather response model. I can show you the structure of weather response model later in this particular tutorial, and right now we have named it as SUT in the form of variable, where SUT denotes the system under test. So whatever system we test in a particular unit test case, we used to name it SUT. So we are testing here a weather forecast API response when the location is given, that is the condition, and then network response should contain 40 objects for the current day forecast. This is our expectation that we ultimately want to test. So we have declared our system under test as weather response model in the form of SUT variable. Expected forecast object count are 40. We have given API timeout in seconds as 120 and success response code is 200. That is not used in this particular test case, but still if you need to define few of the variable for your test case, you can define in this particular place. Location mock object, that is a class to create the mock object for the location that we can understand later. For now we can focus on this particular test case. So before each is the block, if you want to execute any piece of the code with every of the it block that is given under your describe block of the unit test case, then that part you can involve in this particular section. So whatever code that you have written in this particular before each block, that will get executed before every code that is written inside the it block. And under a context you can have multiple it blocks, so each of the before each code will be executed before each of the it block execution. So right now we are having only one it block, that's why it will execute it only once just to create the mock location object. And wait until block is basically responsible to holding the complete control of your test case execution until this networking asynchronous code got executed. So that's why we are using here wait until block, and once that wait until block get a response, we mark it done with the help of this done instruction. And here we are calling our network layer to fetch weather response for that mock location object, through which we have given the latitude longitude. And in the response section of this particular callback, we are checking whether our expectation is failed or whether our expectation is passed. So if we are getting any error, then at the line number 54 we are marking our test case as fail, and if our response is successful, that is the number of object in the weather response we are getting as expected as 40 that we have defined at the top of our unit test case, then our test case is successful. And in else part, if we are not getting any data, we are again marking our test case as fail. So this is the overall logic for our test case execution. And at the last, we have given after each block. In the after each block, whatever code you will be writing, that will get executed after every it block execution. So this is the part where you can writing all of your cleaning code, because I have created the mock location object before each of the it blocks, so that's why I am clearing it out also. Right now you are having only one it block. In case of multiple it block, it can get executed after every it block execution, and I am clearing SUT and mock location variable at this particular place. So this is the overall structure of my unit test case that is written with the help of Quick and Nimble framework. To run your test case, you can use this diamond sign. Just click on it on the Xcode Explorer and then click on this arrow sign to run your test class. Now your test class is executing. And you can see now your test case is successful. In the console log, you can also see the execution of your test case. So if you remember, we discussed a point where I told you that whatever string you are providing in describe, context and it block, they provide you a kind of very formatted log when you execute your test case. So this is the place where you can see that particular thing. The weather forecast API response, when location is given, network response should provide 40 object for current day forecast passed in this particular seconds. So now you can see how formatted log these strings are providing you at the console, and just by looking into it, anybody, even if he is non-technical, he can understand what exactly the status of your test case execution. And this is the beauty of Quick and Nimble framework. So here we completed the objective of understanding the basic structure of a Quick and Nimble test case. We also understood how to write a unit test case with the help of Nimble expressions. And going forward in this tutorial series, we will learn about more in detailed expressions that are provided by the Nimble framework to write more logically intense unit test cases. So till then, keep learning with us and stay motivated. Thank you.